Yes, yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back. We are back for another live episode of Crush Mics. I am your host, Corey Buckets. And we got a lot going on. A lot going on. New York Knickerbockers did win the game. Um, we were impressed with the actual output from the Knicks last night. We gotta, you know, we gotta keep it in perspective. We didn't have Jason Tatum playing. Oh, we had Jason Tatum, excuse me. We didn't have Jaylen Brown playing. Um, the Celtics, I said on social media yesterday, I said, look, the Celtics are so well coached and they give such a great effort that you're going to get a good game, even if the 12th, the the ninth through the 14th man is on the court against your starters because their discipline and their coach gives them a game plan. And I believe Joe Mazzulla really has the faith in his team, and his guys really believe that he believes in them. So essentially, Joe Mazzulla makes a lot of things happen for that squad, and they're still doing well. But last night, the New York Knicks won 112 to 106. Key takeaways from the game: the Knicks closed the game on a 13-5 run, fueled by a dominant fourth quarter. Josh Hart, a major takeaway. I was online and I said, prior to the game, like right before the game, I said, look, the Knicks would could benefit from having a knockdown shooter in that slot. And a lot of my Knicks fans, faithfuls, Crush Mike's subscribers that follow me said, hey, Buck, I don't know about that. I think you might be able to use a knockdown shooter in the Michael Bridges spot. Him and OG kind of mirror each other. And I said a sentiment that I will not take back. I think that Josh Hart gets a lot of open looks. He gets more open looks than anybody else on the team, I believe, because his matchups are often a big man because they usually put a big on him and then put a guard or small forward or power forward on Karl Anthony Towns that makes it difficult for him to put the ball on the floor and be effective when he's not close to the rim. So that's why him posting and picking and rolling and picking and popping with Brunson is crucial, but that's another case. But Hart, listen, man. I listen. When when you show improve, I gotta give credit where credit is due. Hart, we have to give him credit for last night's game. What he did last night, very impressive. Very impressive. We're not going to light him in no possible way. Hart hit open threes. He hit two clutch threes down the stretch. Both threes, I think there wasn't nobody, even CP the franchise, when I was listening to Knicks fan TV last night. Shout out to CP the franchise, um, Alex, CK, and everybody over there on that staff. Even the callers were saying what I was saying. First three, you're like, no. Oh yeah, yeah, good shot. Second three, you're like, oh no. Oh yeah, good shot. So it's still kind of, but let's keep it a buck. Josh Hart has been shooting about 40% from three. This year is probably a career high for him. He's doing really well. I have to say he is doing really well. He had 15 in the fourth, 26 total points. That was it was an amazing game for him. It was an amazing game and an amazing game as to how we were able to, the Knicks, I should say, were able to play team basketball. Jalen Brunson, who I will have to say at times I have, um, I won't say gotten on him per se. I'll say we were a little bit critical about the fact that I felt that he should start the games with a hybrid kind of game where he's passing and looking for a shot as well. We want him to be aggressive and look for a shot at all times because he's a dynamic scorer. You can't take the scoring away from him, but you need him to look for other guys where they have mismatches and when they get open and when they get to their spots because then they're in a rhythm. If he's not in a rhythm in crucial points in the game, or they're in a rhythm that makes him even more of a threat and opens up his game. If the ancillary guys are able to make open shots and get open shots and get shots in their spots, it just makes it better for your key marquee players like your Brunsons, your Towns, your OG. Like it's just gonna open it up for everybody if he can make plays by passing as well. So when he has games like this where he has 10 assists or better, we gotta show my guy Brenny some love. Gotta show Brenny some love. 'Cause if we gonna talk bad about him when essentially he's not getting the assist and he has like 35 and 3 and we lose, you can't just talk about that. So shout out to him. Shout out to Jason Tatum, man. It was a decent game for Jason Tatum, even though it wasn't necessarily indicative or impactful in the final score. 24 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists. So he almost had a triple double and a block. Listen, man, this was his first game back to the Garden since his injury last postseason. You got to applaud his efforts. Jason Tatum was solid. They were definitely in the game all game long. Peyton Pritchard, he's a little killer. He's a little monster. 23 off the bench. Tough, tough, tough dribble. Tough cover. He's just a tough cover. Um, this is what I say about the coaching of Joe Mazzulla, Boston Celtics head coach. You get 20, a random 24 Baylor, excuse me. Baylor Shireman gives you 20.6 for 7 from 3 point. Who the heck that doesn't live in Boston know who Bayer Shireman is and that he could be that impactful to give you six threes off the bench. So that's coaching, man. That's coaching and having a confidence in your guys and your guys coming out and executing because they know the coach runs plays and has confidence for, again, the first man on the roster to the 17th man on the roster. Like that, we gotta appreciate and applaud those efforts. Carl Anthony Towns chips in with a double double, 16 and 12. Uh, Lackluster, like when you watch Towns, you always feel, at least I do, in this Knicks uniform in this stint that he always has opportunities and spaces to do more. But when you win, it's not much to say. It's really not much to say. You can't harp on what could be done or whatever in a win. You get the win, you just take the win and you run. So good game for the New York Knickerbockers. Um, Tonight they have the Toronto Raptors, which is going to be a very interesting game and conversation because when you look at the standings in the East, it's very, very close. We got about 2 games left for most of the teams have about 2 games left. And the difference between the Celtics and the Knicks is a 2 game. Boston is 54 and 26. The Knicks are 52 and 28. If Boston loses out, that will put them at 54 and 28. If the Knicks win out, that'll put them at 54 and 28 as well. The Knicks having the tiebreaker, so that will put them in second. Who knows how that works out? The top 8 In the East, you got the Pistons, the Celtics, Knicks, Cavs at 4, Raptors at 5 today, so the Hawks at 6 today, and 7 the Magic, and you got 8 the 76ers. Something to watch out for. Joel Embiid just had surgery yesterday, which impacted my prediction for yesterday. I didn't realize that he had the appendicitis and that essentially he was going to be out yesterday. I would have never picked the Sixers in the matchup yesterday against the Rockets, but new developments always change how things work in those instances. But yeah, we're definitely um, looking at a strong race and a strong finish to the end because the Hornets have a tie with the 76ers for that eighth spot at 43 and 37. They both are 43 and 37. And realistically, with the injury to Joel Embiid, you have to believe that the Hornets are going to emerge and be able to outlast the 76ers should it come to a playing situation between the two teams. The Hornets are playing very good basketball right now. They're figuring it out, and they're healthy. The core of their team is healthy. So I do believe um, in a playing situation, the Hornets will get that eighth slot. Um, the eighth or even the seventh slot. They could possibly get that seventh slot and the Heat get the eighth slot. I don't necessarily believe in the Magic. I believe the Magic are fool's goal at 44 and 36. They haven't found any consistency anywhere. Paolo Banchero, one of my favorite young stars in the NBA, he seems to be going in the other way, the other direction in terms of shooting. His shooting has been pretty subpar, um, and he's been struggling this year. The 3-point shooting is very lackluster this year, and it's disappointing because realistically, if you were following the Magic, if you're following Paolo, you definitely believe that this was going to be a breakout year for him to have an amazing year this year. But just to review a few things, um, essentially yesterday's games, we had a few predictions. Let's see how we sized up. Pause. That was crazy. Um, we had the Raptors beating the Heat. The Raptors won. We had the Bulls beating the Wizards and tally. That was correct. We had the Pacers beating the Nets. That was correct. We had the Knicks beating the Celtics. That was correct. We had the Warriors beating the Lakers. That was incorrect. That was incorrect, which we have an amazing, amazing game from the 40-year-old LeBron James, who shoots 11 for 17, 26 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. You cannot say that he is not playing defense at 41 years old with those kind of stats. 3 of 5 from 3-point range, plus 19, plus minus. You got 21 points from Ayton. Still disgusted on the boards. Why he is 7 feet grabbing 5 rebounds is unexplainable. But I digress. Surprising, yeah, the Lakers got that win last night. I definitely thought the Warriors were on an uptick and really fighting for the playoffs to get in the playoffs and would do something. But when you look at some of the box scores, man, you got 11 from Curry off the bench, which was a killer. Draymond Green, he just ran up and down the court yesterday. He gave you 2 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. So yeah, it was just a lackluster performance for the Golden State Warriors last night. Unfortunately, we had them winning, so we didn't get that. And we did not get the Rockets versus 76ers game correct due to the Embiid injury. But other than that, we were pretty close. We were pretty close. We weren't totally out of the water. But today's games should be pretty interesting. Again, everybody's fighting for their lives for the most part that aren't within that top six. So it's going to continue to heat up towards the end of the regular season, no pun intended, um, for the teams to really make a push and surge to try to make the playoffs. Tonight, man, I believe the Knicks will be playing the Raptors, and right now the Raptors being in five. A lot of people on the Knicks side are saying hopefully the Raptors slide to six, so if the Knicks stay at three, we can get that 3-6 matchup, and it could be a pretty light first round. I believe anybody that you have to play in the first round, if you're the Knicks, you more than likely should favor and beat them. The first round shouldn't be that heavy or nothing too crucial. So um, I like the Knicks winning tonight versus the Raptors. They're favorites tonight. Heat Wizards, we got the Heat. Wizards are super tanking. Uh, Pistons Hornets, we got the Pistons. Cade Cunningham is back. I don't see them losing a lot of games going forward, considering Cade Cunningham is back. They held it down. Shout out to JB Bickerstaff, man. I will be honest. The way I saw Tibbs handle his teams, it had me under the impression that he wasn't as great as I thought he was. But I got to take my hat off to JB. JB Bickerstaff is a great coach. He's not even a good, he's a great coach. He gets a lot out of his teams. The guys run through walls for him, so to speak. And you gotta applaud that effort in this NBA where a lot of people say it's hard to coach players, where they say players don't listen, where they say you know, what did Dick Vitale from ESPN coach who hosts or used to host, I should say, a lot of college basketball. He used to say, "The inmates are running the asylum, baby. The inmates are running the asylum." So pretty much just saying that the players were running the schools and the organizations, and as opposed to the organizations dictating some of the things that were going on. He was saying that the players were making the rules and calling the shots, which it used to be hilarious. But that's what a lot of times happens and is said in professional sports, especially the NBA. So to see the impact that JB Bickerstaff has had on his team and how well they have played is amazing. We definitely have to applaud that. We got to applaud that. He likely will be a candidate, or if not the main choice for Coach of the Year this year. I believe Charlotte's coach should be in heavy consideration as well, because let's be real, the Hornets were in the basement of the basement's basement. So for them to be where they're at now is an impressive, unbelievable turnaround. Because even in the beginning of the year, you thought it was just going to be another lottery year. Um, so the fact that they're in the spot they're in, amazing, amazing. Um, so yeah, man. We definitely send a shout out to a lot of the East Coast because well, the East and the West Coast, but I say the East Coast because if you want to keep it a buck, no pun intended, the East Coast gets a bad rap in terms of their teams and their records, and it's often said that the East Coast doesn't compete as well as the West and their teams and all that. Man, these games have been competitive this year outside of the tankers, and you got tankers on both sides. Um, so man, listen, I salute the effort that we've seen this year from a lot of the teams. Let's go to a little bit of the sports betting. These cake cash picks. Cupcake Cash picks. Tonight, we got Boston Celtics versus the New Orleans Pelicans. Celtics, high, heavy favorites, 8 to 10 point range. The Celtics are led or said to cover. They're going to cover that spread tonight. Money line on the Celtics. If you're betting, bet responsibly. But we got the Celtics in this one. Milwaukee Bucks versus the Nets. Depends on Giannis' status. A big swing of the game, of course. But the Bucks are definitely favored in the Super Tank Olympics. I saw a highlight the other day where Jericho Sims was doing his best Giannis Antetokounmpo impression, and it's hilarious if you are a Knicks supporter because we don't remember Jericho Sims dribbling from the box to the basket, let alone dribbling from half court. He caught the ball and went coastal. That was crazy. What's going on there? Yeah, but we definitely got the Bucks winning that game tonight. And we'll definitely take the under because that's gonna be, excuse me, um, horribly scored game for them. We'll take the over for the Celtics in New Orleans because the Celtics are going to shoot their faces off. Um, Definitely without a question, because when you look at it, you say, um, even Shireman came off the bench last night and had 6 threes. So it's a great likelihood that they're just gonna cook their souls tonight and get them out the way. Sacramento Kings, Golden State Warriors is a pick 'em. And for my casuals to betting, that means it is a crapshoot. No one knows specifically who can win this game. Their favorites are none. Um, because you got two teams that they're dead in the water. Even though the Warriors are playing for a playing spot, they're dead in the water. They're not doing anything. The Kings are listen, man, even though they're giving the Kings a slight favorite edge, I believe that tank is going to be too strong, and they have put the beam away for the rest of the year. They don't want to see that beam in Sacramento. I believe that I give the Sacramento Kings, you know what? Take that back. If Steph Curry does anything, Steph Curry does anything correct, I got the Golden State Warriors winning this game because it is a narrative that they're at least trying to die on the sword this year, the proverbial sword, so to speak, Golden State, and at least make it to the play-in. So yeah, I got the Kings winning that. I mean, I got the Warriors winning that. Definitely got the Warriors winning that. Los Angeles Lakers versus the Phoenix Suns. It's a toss-up, depending on the one-line movement. Star matchup, LeBron James. Um, I know he will have Dylan Brooks, Dylan the villain on him tonight. So this is going to be interesting. Um, when he goes against LeBron James, it's always a big hoopla, a whole lot of word salad and all that extra stuff. So I stuck who we got in that one? Considering the fact that they're causing LeBron to play so many minutes, and I believe Phoenix as a whole, I got Phoenix winning that tonight, man. I got Phoenix winning that. I got them covering the spread, and I got the over. I got the under for that. I got the under for that. The Nuggets versus the OKC Thunder. The Nuggets are a favor. Lean towards Jokic versus the young OKC. Experience edge to Denver. Ah, I don't know. The Joker. This is tough. This is a tough one. It's a tough one. We ain't being in a minute. This is a tough one. It's a tough one. OKC versus Denver. I'm thinking, listen, man, I know Jokic is a problem. I know he's a walking triple double and a mean walking. We're talking about like 35, 15, and 50. Like he's a mean triple. I got I got Shea in the OKC winning this tonight. As long as the caveat, so you gotta watch the ticker to make sure they're not sitting anybody, OKC. But if everybody is playing, I got Shea destroying Jamal Murray tonight and just solidifying that I am the undoubtable MVP candidate. I'm the winner. Like I'm the recipient. Like you can't. I'm that guy. Call me foul merchant. Call me whatever you want, but just don't call me a loser. Like, yeah, yeah. I got Shea. I got Shea. I definitely got Shea tonight. And then OKC Thunder. I got them covering all spreads. Um, I got them covering all spreads. That without a question. Um, Houston Rockets versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. Timberwolves slight favorite. We're gonna give the defensive edge to the Timberwolves. You know that's primarily Rudy Gobert. Listen, man. I definitely have the T Wolves winning this. Um, so we're definitely we don't have to go too crazy on that game because essentially that's what that looks strong for the T-Wolves. We ain't gonna go crazy in that. K Cash picks the lock of the night. Boston Celtics, 8.5 point favorites. Too much firepower consisting of mismatch for their opponent. Short-handed, I definitely like the Celtics. Um, I'm gonna go with OKC. I just think that Shea controls the pace and him running for that MVP. I got confidence in them. I got them 5 point favorites. Sacramento Kings. I got you losing. The Golden State Warriors. I got the Golden State 2 point favorites. Vegas is saying Sacramento Kings is 2 point favorites, but I believe that the Kings are tanking at a rapid pace, and even though they play a fast tempo against the injured and ailing and aging Warriors, I believe just Steph Curry coming off the bench, I believe he's going to have a random 40 ball and win. I definitely believe they're gonna win. This is gonna be just buckets, no defense game. Just trust that. So whatever the over and the go over, definitely over. K Cash picks. We believe the Knicks and Raptors could be a crapshoot. Um, I definitely got the Knicks in a sweaty win. But again, watch the ticker. If you see something that says Brunson is out tonight, Towns is out tonight, Robinson's out tonight, Raptors, because they got what they have um what it is, they have something to play for. So I'm definitely gonna go with the Raptors if you hear that the Knicks are sitting guys and things of that nature. Quick parlay idea. Parlay the Celtics, Nuggets, um, over for the Warriors Kings. That's a three-leg cake builder. You could that's a possible parlay for y'all. Like if y'all wanna really gamble, like I said, play responsibly. Three-leg parlay, Celtics, Nuggets, over on the Warriors Kings, three-leg parlay. That's a gamble because like I said, I got OKC on it, but If you bet that three-leg parlay on that cake builder, that might cash you out. This is why you gamble, because it's a gamble. It is a gamble. It is a definite gamble. But yeah, man, we definitely looking forward to all the games and the regular season wrapping up within these next 2 days. On Sunday, the Knicks will find out who they're specifically playing in the first round of the playoffs, and a lot of other teams will figure that out, what's going on. And so as the NBA season wraps up, we're excited to get into the postseason and see what happens. Ugh. See who's going to be holding the Larry O'Brien trophy at the end of the year. You know, as we close up, it's a lot said about professional sports and the players and organizations and things of that nature. One of the things that I would like to stress as we close on this session of closed Crush Mics, a lot of people want to say things or love to say things like call professional basketball, baseball, whatever have you, players bums. If you look up in definition or in terms what the rate is that professional sports, and we're talking about the United States that play in the MLB, the NBA, etc. What is the ratio or what's the number percentage that they are better than the general population or said to be better than? It is said that professional athletes, definitely the NBA, are better than 99.1% of the population. So when you get on these platforms, whether you're a sports writer, you're a couch potato with great strong thumbs, whatever the case may be, and you call these great athletes bums, you have to review your life and say, at what point in time in your life were you 99.1% better than the population in anything? This could even be making sandwiches in your house to where you better than 99% of like, and that's not even a tangible thing that matters. But when were you 99.1% better than a population in something that tangibly matters? When you look at it from that perspective, you should have a greater appreciation for what these players do. You should have a greater appreciation for the efforts that are being put forth on the courts and the fields and things of that nature. I think we got to get back to a space in sports media of appreciating the athletes more instead of just always trying to have the sharp take, always trying to have something, an angle that makes somebody look at a player a certain kind of way, and just start appreciating them for the greatness and sacrifices that they've made to be on those levels. Because in anything you want to do in life, there's great sacrifice and can be a reward if you see it through. The fact that these male and female athletes have respectively made their way, we got to start appreciating them more, man. We got to in the sports media so that we can get the best from the athletes. The marketing used to be a little bit different, a little bit better back in the days, I believe, because sports weren't, everybody didn't want to have the salacious or dramaful takes. They appreciated the athletes and treated them like superstars, which superheroes to some extent, which I think we need to get back to so people can understand that it is 99.1%. And just because you can make threes consistently in your backyard, you're not Steph Curry. So, but yeah, man, that is all we have for this morning session of Crush Mics. We appreciate everybody, man. As always, bet responsibly. Show love to your family and the people around you, anybody you come in contact with, man. This life is very short. We want to live it to the best of our ability. Y'all have a great weekend. Salute. Cake.